Sriram.
5 years. Fantastic. Yeah. So, so Pooja is actually coordinated all the. Now she's in Hyderabad. Okay, that's the reason we added her. She actually played a key role for some of the starting setups. Whenever we had doubts, we reached out to Pooja. So she'll be a co-host. Like in the previous sessions, this session also I will drive this session. If at all anybody has any queries in between, you can reach out, type in your question in the chat box. So some of the co-hosts will ready to answer. At the end of the session, anyway, there will be a lot of Q&A session today because this is important session. Whatever doubts you have, you can always ask today. Okay. 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. Shall we go ahead or?
30 more
Yeah,
seconds and you
we
can start.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. We'll as I mentioned, right? Let me briefly talk about the previous sessions. What we did. Previous sessions, we talked about identification of birds in different habitats for people who haven't attended. So we did almost like 6 sessions till now, and this session is mandatory for every participant. Previous sessions are for the beginners, but this session is birds protocol and also how we are going to do it, survey protocol and also birding protocol, which is a mandatory session for all the participants who have actually volunteered for this exercise. So let me go through the slides. Okay, for people who are actually not familiarized, right? Before we all know that what is Hyderabad Bird Atlas. We talked about in the first session, but again, for people who didn't attend, let me give brief introduction about what exactly is HBA. So this is a citizen science project aimed at systematically document this. Some of the terms which are highlighted, right, are important because that is what we are going to do. So aim of the survey, we are planning to do twice in a year, which is now we are going to do it in February, which is the winter. And then we again wanted to replicate in summer. This is after exactly in July, we're going to do it. And the initial aim is to run it for minimum of 3 years. And for this survey, what we did was we taken the ORR as the boundary. But some cells will fall outside ORR. That's because that is also is going to expand in future. So that is the reason some cells will fall outside ORR also. But remember that the ORR is the limit for this. And also when we selected, we are made sure that some of the habitats which are there, except the grasslands, which are very limited in the ORR region, but most of the habitats has been connected. And also remember, these are all the cells, whatever you're going to see, are selected randomly. Okay, that is one thing as part of what we are doing for HBA. Now, okay, for HBA, this we selected 11% of the city area. That is one thing you should keep it in mind. That's the reason when in the ORR we are going to cover 11%. So when we did that, we got 45 grids. In that 45 grids, I'll show you what exactly is a grid. And in that 45 grid, we are going to sample. We have 4 subcells. So remember that 4 into 45 is the cells we are going to survey. 180 areas are we are going to survey as part of HBA. Okay, let me show you what exactly I mean here. Now these are the ones. If you see, These are all the 180 subcells which we are going to survey, which are these. Remember that all these 180 subcells has been randomly selected. So there is no manual intervention in this. And we are getting a lot of questions previously also when we ask why Aminpur is not there, why so and so location which is good in birds is not selected, because this, remember all that, since it is scientific and it is all the cells are selected randomly, there is no intervention of the bird watchers in the selection of the cells. So that is the mandatory thing you have to remember. Okay. So at the end of this exercise, what we're going to do is we are going to create, we are going to survey 180 cells, and from each cell, we are going to create 4 checklists. And each checklist will have only a time limit of 15 minutes. So if once the cell which is assigned to you, or the cell which you selected, you are going to go there and you are going to create 4 checklists covering all types of habitat in that cell for an hour. That is the overall what we're going to do in the, as part of the survey. Okay, total at the end of the survey, once we cover all the cells, 180 cells, we are going to have 720 checklists of that season. Okay, this is one thing you should keep it in mind. Okay, now what are the tools which are needed? Everybody knows that we already gave some session on how to use eBird and Merlin. For this survey, eBird mobile app is the mandatory tool which we are going to use it for the checklist creation. So the team leads and also the team members needs to have mobile app. For that team, they need to have eBird mobile app. And then we created a custom Google My Maps, which I already show you. This is a custom Google My Map, which will be shared with you again. Okay, so you will, this is a custom Google Map app, which we use it for our survey. And because that, to go to the location, right, to exactly go to the middle of that cell which is assigned to you or which you selected, this Google My Maps is the tool which you are going to use it for the survey. And then there is a HBI dashboard. Right now, it is not needed for everybody, but this HBI dashboard we are going to use to monitor the progress of the atlas, how many checklists are created, how many cells are completed, all that is tracked in that HBA dashboard. So these are some of the mandatory thing. And then in the field equipment, smartphone, binoculars, and camera is not is optional, because some cells will have restrictions of carrying camera. So that's the reason camera is not mandatory. Some campuses may have restrictions. So that's the reason we are not mandating asking you to carry a camera. But if you have and you are getting permission to visit that with a camera, you can carry it. But for this exercise at class, camera is not mandatory. But for some boards, let's say you have seen a rare board, obviously some kind of documentation is needed for reporting that things. And for safety and other stuff, this is all needed. It is recommended to whatever is generally we use it in the field. Those are the things we are going to use. Communication tools, as we are already doing, we are using WhatsApp group for coordination and communication, but also as you form your own teams, the smaller teams, you can also use your groups to lead or coordinate with the teams. Okay. Okay, this is the main protocol which we are going to follow for the entire survey. So we are going to 180 cells are there. Okay, all this, the aim of the survey is to survey all the 180 cells. At the end of the survey, we are going to complete 180 cells. So this will be done by the multiple teams which we are going to create. So each team will have minimum of 2 to 5 members. Remember that in that one team lead will be there, the one person who is an expert in identifying birds. Rest of the members who are as is assisting is going to assist the team lead, who will assist in documentation of the bird species in eBird, and also assist him in spotting the birds and other stuff. And somebody can be a photographer who will be helping the an expert taking the pictures. So minimum size is 2 members, maximum is 5 members in a team. Like I previously mentioned, the cell which is assigned to you or which you have selected, you need to create 4 checklists in that cell for a period of 1 hour. This is mandatory. You have to make sure that each checklist is only 15 minutes checklist. And during that, so you will be remember that the checklist can be of 2 types. One It could be a traveling checklist. We recommend to make sure that you travel in that subcell. In that subcell, if you can able to travel. Sometimes some cells, it will be very difficult for you to walk. In that case, go to the cell in the whatever region is possible, and you can create a stationary checklist. These are two things which you, so whoever is familiar with eBoard, you can create whether a traveling checklist or a stationary checklist. So remember, 4 checklists for each subcell is the aim. So total 1 hour of effort is needed for each subcell. Okay. So when you submit, once you documented all the bird species, at the end of each checklist, you need to mention what subcell number. I'll show you what are the subcells and their numbers, and how many. What is the list? Let's say this is the first checklist. You have to mention checklist number one, team number. If you have team number, we're going to show again. Each team will have a team number and number of observers. It's the number of observers in that place you need to mention. Locality and area is also needs to mention in the comments of that checklist. And if you have observed different habitats, mention the habitats, what type of habitat you have seen in that area is what you need to mention in each and every checklist. Make sure. And once you have done, make share the checklist with Hyderabad Bird Atlas, HYD Bird Atlas. Remember this eBird ID. All the checklist needs to be shared with Hyderabad Bird Atlas. That is when we are going to review the checklists which are shared with us. In this case, this checklist. Okay. And then remember, as I mentioned, every subcell, whatever is assigned to you, try to cover as many habitats as there. Let's say you in a subcell, if you have a wetland and as a urban habitat, try to cover both the habitats. Sometimes you might have a park, you might also have a forested region and also an urban habitat. Try to cover these different habitats in that 1 hour of time. Okay. So there are the next 2 points are actually not mandatory for this thing, but if we can do it, right? Let's say one team is not can complete all the 4 checklists. Sometimes what happens, adjacent team members can also help to actually reduce the bias of single team. So we sometimes what happens, 2 checklists can be created by one team. The other two checklists can be created by the adjacent team, just to remove the observer bias for that cell. But it is not mandatory. We are not saying a team can complete all the 4 checklists in that cell. Okay. And also, now let's say you completed this cell this year. So next year we ask you to go to some other cell so that some other team is going to survey the same subcell in the subsequent seasons, just to avoid again the observer bias, which can happen because we have multiple team leads. So each and every team lead might have its own way of observing birds. So that is the reason we have to avoid that. We are actually recommending the same team to do different cells instead of same team, same cell. Okay. So if you find that during one day, right, sometimes what happens in some of the day which you wanted to survey, that during that period there could be weather related issues. Let's say somewhat the day when you went for the survey, it could be foggy or it could be raining on that day. So that period you can do it again next time. That is one thing you can keep it in mind. Sometimes you can do it on multiple days for the same cell. It is okay. So just to remove some of the things, let's say on that day you feel that there is a lot of traffic in that region, you can avoid and go on the subsequent days. And then currently we recommend all the surveys for this HBA. The time is only in the morning. It will start at 6 o'clock. We wanted to end at 9, but it can go till 11 is what is suggested. After that, you are not supposed to create any checklist after 10. You can take it based on the let's say the activity what is happening on that time. You can take a call on that time, but recommended times are 6 to 9, 10, and 11. Till 10, 11 is the max time you can spend. After that, it is not suggested. Like I mentioned previously, if at all anything on that day is affected by some weathers, so you have to redo it. Okay. Sometimes we have to redo the same cell again. all the checklists needs to be done on foot. This you should make sure that don't do it in a car. Don't travel in that. You should stop your vehicle at one point and try to cover all the regions on foot. Is the important things of this survey protocol. Any questions till now? After that, we'll go to the other ones. This is very important. Try to understand what we are planning to do.
We had few questions, Sriram, which we are answering.
For survey protocol, we can answer.
Yeah, if you want to pause and ask your questions online,
Yeah,
you can raise your hand and then we can do it in a call also, through a voice message also.
yeah.
If you want, just raise your hand and then we will try to.
Because this survey protocol is critical. This is what we are going to follow year and after year. Can you unmute Anil?
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, Sriram. Good evening. Thanks for arranging this session, Sriram and Kishore. My question is, how do we share? What is the procedure for sharing the checklist on eBird? Just in the interest of everyone to know what is the procedure.
Okay, that actually I'll show you if you don't know, but I'm assuming that everybody knows how to share a checklist. But it is an easy process. Okay, you can share it in a mobile app because as soon as you are on the last screen, there is a way to share the checklist. Okay, I'll share
Okay.
it. But we already covered this in eBird session which we conducted. If not, Anil, are
You
you
can go through that
engaged?
session too.
Yeah, it is there. It covered in
Yes.
eBird session.
Sure,
Okay.
Sriram. I'll go through it. Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions on the protocol? If not, I'll address at the end. Varma. Okay. Murari.
Murari, you can unmute.
Yeah. So my question is, when you say 15 minutes with a total of 1 hour, so it doesn't mean that 15 can be in the first hour, next 15 can be in the next hour, another 15 can be in the next hour, something like that, or maybe two 15-minute protocols in 1 hour, and maybe other two 15 minutes in or it has to be continuous.
So it depends. See, where the idea is in that 1 hour, you need to cover the entire cell, whatever is been assigned, 1.1. Each cell is 1.1 square kilometers into 1.1. Okay. So whether you wanted to do it, let's say you are planning to do, let's say you assigned yourself as 4 subcells. So how you wanted to do, it has to be between 6 to 9. That is one thing you should fix. How you're going to do, whether you want to do it continuously, whether you wanted to do 2 in 1 hour and next day you wanted to do it, it's up to you, Murari. There is nothing like that. But if you have 10 cells assigned to you, so you manage that thing in between those hours, 6 to 9 or max 11. Okay, there is no recommendation ultimately at the end of survey, every cell needs to have 4 checklists on multiple days. That is also possible. On a single day, on a single hour, that is also possible. Pooja, am I right on this?
Yes, yes, Sriram. So what we need to remember is that 1 hour is not birding restriction, but it is birding effort that we are doing. So 4 checklists of 15 minutes make it 1 hour of birding. So one can start birding, one team. Let's say they finish 15 minutes of first checklist. They walk about 2 minutes to a next location within the same cell and do another 15 minutes of checklist. It may happen that we may come across a water body and you are on one side, one bank of that water body. You may want to travel a little bit by walk or by whatever car. Then some time will go in between. And for that entire window, the birding duration or the window for birding is 6 to 9.
Yeah.
Is that clear?
Okay, any
Yeah.
more questions?
Okay.
Else we'll go to the next slides.
Yeah, we can go and then maybe after
Okay, last May we can
next
come
few
back.
slides we can, yeah.
Okay, now this is like timelines which you are following. Now we are all done with registration phase. After that, we did the training phase, which was done. Now we are actually this is a protocol session which we are doing it now, and then in February, official dates for survey is on February 15th and 16th, Saturday and Sunday are the official dates, which is actually coinciding with GBBC, which is an eBird again event. Okay, but teams, whatever at the end of this session, you can nominate the cells, but you can start surveying from February 3rd till February 23rd. Whatever days which you are available on these days, you can start surveying. So there is no mandatory dates. All you need to do was whatever cells you assign to yourself needs to be surveyed from February 3rd to 23rd. But officially, the survey will be on 15th and 16th. Okay, that's what we are going to follow. And whatever remaining cells which are there, we plan to cover everything by February 23rd and then take a call on what is being pending on, and we'll try to create reports by end of March is what the plan is. Right now we are on track with what we are doing. Okay, now this is the birding protocol, which is like nothing else but what exactly you are going to do it on that day. So now since we are going to share this Google My Maps link, so once you have it and it is there on your mobile, right, you're going to have a view like this. Okay, and before that you need to assign some of the cells which we are going to discuss. Let's say I assign myself one of the cell. I'll talk to you about that. Let's say 53, which is there in Madhapur, which I'm giving an example. So once I load it, right, it is how it is going to look in my mobile. This is the screenshots which I have taken in my mobile. Step one is to open Google Maps on your mobile device. Okay. And then whatever cell, in this case 53 Madhapur is the cell which I assigned to myself along with my team. So there is a way when you click that cell, right? Remember that this works only in Android phones. For iPhones, right, you need to manually click at the middle and go to the center. Okay, till we figure out a way how to go to that. For Android, once you click that cell, right, any part of the cell, it will show directions, show directions. It will take you to the middle of that cell. Okay, so it will go to the middle of the cell. Then what you need to do was go to the cell which is assigned to yourself, in this case 53 Madhapur, and then reach to that cell. So remember, when you're traveling to that cell, whatever birds you're going to see, you are not supposed to report. Okay, unless you go to the middle of that cell, you are not supposed to report any birds. Even though you see a rare bird, that you can report it in eBird, but do not share that checklist with the eBird account which is shared with you. Okay, Hyderabad Bird Atlas is the eBird account. Do not share the other checklist. The survey, whatever you're going to do, you need to go into that cell and start the checklist. Okay, and then once you go wherever you wanted to start, go to the middle of the or go to the end, whatever is there, and then start the checklist. When you are starting the checklist, make sure that you record the track. This is important because we as we have to make sure that you are always staying inside the cell which is assigned to you. This will help us to actually monitor later part whether you are sticking in that 1.1 into 1.1 grid or not. Okay, so make sure that the record track is started, and then start the checklist. And then whatever species which are there you have observed for that 15 minutes. Okay, this is like 15 minutes as I mentioned. Report all the birds which you have seen in the first 15 minutes, and then stop. As soon as you stop, try to review whatever species are there, and then choose the location. In this case, right, when you create a location, this is where you need to mention. Okay, the location name should be, you need to follow this method. Let's say the subcell number. This is what I'm going to show it in the later screen. There is an Excel which you have the subcell number plus subcell name plus the checklist number. In this case, I'm creating a first checklist. So that is the reason I have 53 is the subcell number, Madhapur is the location, _1 is the first checklist. This is the format. Try to follow this format. Everybody should follow the same format for the first checklist. And once you're done, you can either save it, submit it now, or you can submit later. But it's always better to submit it immediately. You can later make changes for the same checklist, but submit it and then go to the adjacent location in the same cell, start the second checklist and repeat the process for the 4 checklists. Okay. And in that add comments, right? You need to add these comments, whatever you observed in that cell. Okay. Before you submit, enter the name of the subcell and then whether it is a first list or not, how many members have participated, and add the whoever has observed. If they are on ebook, you can share the checklist with them. If some people may not be there, write their names here and area name and what is the habitat you are seeing there. In that 15-minute checklist, whatever habitats, whether you are seeing something interesting, write those details and submit. Okay. So these are the birding protocol which you're going to follow for every checklist which you're going to create. Follow this birding protocol. Okay. And this is where it is. So let's say you're traveling by foot. Make sure that the checklist is traveling. Sometimes, as I mentioned, right, if it is you cannot travel, but you wanted to create a stationary checklist, make sure you select stationary. Okay. And then once you make all the checklists, I recommend you can submit anytime, but since you are sure about all the changes which you're going to make it later, you are done with the species. Let's say you identified all the bird species which are there, then share with Hyderabad Bird Atlas, eBird ID. Okay, that is what you need to do. Okay. This is the birding protocol we are going to follow. Okay. Now, I'm giving an example. In this case, this is the 53 Madhapur 1.1 grid cells. So I'm just giving an example. This is first checklist, this is second checklist, this is third checklist, this is fourth checklist, which I'm trying to cover all kinds of habitat in this. Okay. But the idea is to cover entire stuff, but sometimes it may not be possible for you to cover the entire region because you cannot even move into some of the regions, right? So it's okay, but ultimately make sure that you stay in this cell itself. So this can be easily done with the help of whoever is going to be there, right? When you're navigating, once you're on the Google My Maps, you can show your current location. It will show whether you're crossing or not. Stick in this 1.1 into 1.1 grid cell. So this Google My Maps, it helps you to actually stick in that cell. Okay. So once you're done, right? Sometimes what happens, this map which is loaded, you cannot. Sometimes it finds it difficult for you to unhide. So I gave a couple of ways to unhide it. This PDF will be shared with you. These are 2 ways to hide the Google My Maps so that you can go ahead with other Google My Maps, whatever is there. But somebody wants to see these Google My Maps throughout. After you're done with the survey also you wanted to see it, it's up to you. But if you want to hide, these are 2 different ways you can hide Google My Maps in your Google. Okay. And then, so once you're done, right, what is we are going to do at the end of this session, right? We created this Google sheet. Okay. I recommend you, for each and every member who are there, go to this sheet. Okay. In this, again, I showed this Google My Maps, which is nothing else but this one. Okay. Go to this map and see what all the cell which you wanted to survey. In this case, let's say I'm interested in some of the regions around Hussain Sagar. Okay. So see what all the cells. In this case, 80 Panjagutta, 95 Secunderabad. So 80 is nothing else but the cell number. And Panjagutta is the name of that region. Okay, 95 is again cell number and the region. So this is what it is mentioned here also. When you go to the teams, right? So 80, go to 80, you will see the cell details. Panjagutta. Okay. So this, let's say if you are interested to do this cell, right? Panjagutta, the team leads. So we already identified few team leads, which the message has been sent to them to lead. So they accepted. The team leads will fill this detail. Let's say in this case, I wanted to explore Panjagutta region. I will enter and I'll put my mobile number also so that the team members can reach out to you. Okay. And then whoever wants to, the team members who wants to be part of this Panjagutta 80 cell, right? They can enter their names. In this case, I'm giving an example, Rajesh, whatever it is. Okay. And you enter the names. And then when the team lead is responsible for entering the survey data. Okay. In this case, I wanted to survey on 5th, 2025. Okay. So these are the things you need to fill, as both team lead needs to fill and also team members. Please fill it. And let's say somebody wants to explore multiple cells, you can do it in this way. Let's say I'm interested to do all the cells. Assign the cells. Team leads needs to assign whatever cells they wanted to do it, on what day you wanted to do it, assign it. And the team members will also assign the cells to them. Okay. So that is what is being mentioned here. Okay, team leads and team members will select the cells, whatever they wanted to survey, and the dates. Along with the dates, they need to mention. And whoever, let's say in this case, I assigned myself Panjagutta, right? In that case, I need to see whether in the map or by visiting before the actual survey, you can visit the cell and figure out whether any prior permissions are needed. If at all you need, somebody needs, let's say HCU needs permission, right? Or some other zoo or KBR, some so public properties and also private properties may need permission. In that case, any permission is needed, we'll try to help you to get the permission. If you can figure it out, permission by your own, because some cells which are close to you, you are the best persons to judge, to get the permission from that. Let's say in a community hall, or let's say some gated community will be there. So you figure out how to get permission for that. And then also it is your responsibility to identify all the different habitats. In this case, I'll give an example. Okay, this 80 Panjagutta, it's all urban habitats. And some parts are there. In this case, some parks are there. So as a team or as a team lead, whoever is in charge, or multiple teams in this case, 94, there is a wetland called Hussain Sagar, and also one park is there, which on that day of survey, make sure that you cover the wetland and also this park and the urban habitat. So these things you have to do it as a team. So identify all the habitats which are there in your cell, and then make in advance, try to identify all that whatever is needed before the actual survey. And finally, teams, whoever has been formed the teams, you need to the survey time and everything, checklist creation, who is going to do checklist creation, and whatever help is needed from our side, we are going to help on that. Okay. Any questions till now? This is what we're going to follow, and we are open for questions. I hope you'll
Just
have
ensure,
lots of, yeah.
just ensure that if you can finish this survey, right, of your cells, whichever you want to do the survey, if you can finish the pre-survey part of it, then it will be good, because then we will have enough time to take permissions, and if there are any issues, we can sort them out beforehand.
Yeah. So first thing, once we are done with the session, we'll share this link with you and also the PDF. Go through this Excel and go through the map, and then assign the cells whatever you wanted to survey. Okay, and you make sure that based on your bandwidth, you can assign multiple cells and the dates also. Okay, and try to once as soon as you assign, and team members can also write their names on whatever cells you wanted to do. Any questions till now you have on this, or is it straightforward for you all? You sure?
Yeah, I'm just reading out the questions. So last questions, whichever we didn't answer yet, I think
Okay.
so we can discuss that.
And there is a hand,
So,
Sri Rajani.
yeah, Sriranjani, one
Rajani,
second.
sorry.
Yes, Ranjani, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Kishore. Thanks, Sriram. So if I have understood it correctly, there can be multiple teams doing one single cell at a given time. That is all right. Is it all right?
No, so one team, it's at the same time, there won't be multiple teams surveying the same cell. Okay, that
Okay.
you should remember.
Okay, so they have to be at different times or different days.
Yeah, different days, but what we are recommending is right now, okay, one cell, try to cover the cell which is assigned to you. The aim is to cover 180 cells, Ranjani, okay.
Okay.
And then if at all we find lots of participants, okay, and then we'll try to figure out whether two teams can do survey in a single cell.
Okay.
First aim is to complete all the 180 cells, okay, and see whether one team can complete all the 4 checklists. But in later part, let's say in this case, next survey, next season, we'll assign a different team for the same cell, subcell. Okay.
Okay. And so the entire team will do these 15-minute stretches. The whole team has to go together, right? Whoever has
Yes. Yeah.
decided to join that particular team on that day,
Yeah.
the whole team will go, whether it's 2 or 5 or 10, and it will be taken care of by one team lead, right?
So let's say that I'll give an example. So there are 2 cells which assigned to yourself, right? And there are 4 members which opted. I'm talking about team lead opted for 2 cells.
Okay.
But whereas team members, there are only 2 members for one cell, and there are 4 members for other cell. Okay. In that case, the members needs to actually communicate with the team lead and then complete, because then in that case the first cell will have only 3 members and second cell will have 5 members.
Right.
Understood?
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Savarnil is asking a question. If required to procure, do we have any official identification which indicates that we are surveying on behalf of HBA?
I didn't understand. What is that?
He's asking if we have any official identification which identify ourselves as HBA, if somebody asks that
Okay,
question.
kind of an ID card is what it is, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I think we had a plan. I think maybe we'll try to implement, saying that we will try to see whether we can give you an ID card which says that you are doing this survey and so and so dates. It will not have your picture definitely, but it will have your name maybe. We'll try to figure out a way. It's actually initially we thought, but I think in between somehow we missed it. But I think it's better to have an ID card. We'll try to see what can be done before the actual survey, 15th and 16th. And we have multiple plans, but we are not revealing it right now based on multiple factors, because that needs some kind of, we have ways where people might recognize you because you're doing a survey, but we'll come up with the details of how we are planning to achieve that. Okay. Kalyan, I think there is hand raise.
Yeah, Kalyan. Unmute yourself.
Yeah. So while filling the form, we already selected the locations, right? Again, choosing a cell is what my question. Why are we doing
Yeah,
it
it is a
again?
high level location, right?
Uh-huh.
You
Okay.
you just selected a full stretch of a road. So the cells are specific cells, right? So you can always select the specific cells
Okay. Thank you.
from your area. Yeah. Gajendra will look into that option. Where we'll try to have a letter. I mean, if you have any specific requirements in your area, in those cells, let us know, and then we'll try to do that. We'll anyway make a template for a letter which can be used by people.
Are we clear on the survey protocol, or anyway, the recording will be available? Okay. One more hand. Okay. Saeed.
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, Said.
Hi, good evening. So, I'm one of the lead actually. So I got selected as a lead, but I am not familiar about the places. So do we get any idea about while selecting the cells?
Okay, see, nobody is familiar with many of the cells, side. So idea is select a place which is close to you. First idea, okay. So select a place which is close to you so that you get an opportunity to go to that cell, and before, okay, prior to the survey, you can go and explore that cell and figure out. See, remember that these 180 cells which are randomly selected. Many of our guys has no clue. Okay, even many the regions which are close by, which is not even 1 kilometer away from my region, I'm not sure what I can see there. So as a team lead, right, or a team members, sometimes what happens, a team member might help you. The whoever is there in that, right, who are very close to that cell, they might help you. Okay, but remember that you don't need to be familiar. You need to be familiar with identifying birds. Since you are a lead, your job is to identify the birds in that whatever cell which is there, and stick to that the cell. That is the only two things we need to keep, and the 15-minute checklist.
Your team members will help you actually, Abdul,
Yeah.
with the location, because most of the team members will select the places which they are familiar with. As Sriram rightly said, right? Your role is more important in identifying the birds, and your team members will help you with the location,
Yeah. And Pooja, I
right?
have multiple questions. Maybe since maybe it can also help others also. Let's say that how do you keep, let's say, 15-minute checklist, right? Pune, whether how they make sure that it is only 15 minutes. Because every time we can't keep it time, right? Do you put a timer kind of stuff for each checklist?
Um, so we would just like, because we are using phones to enter and do everything, so it is very easy to keep track of time. And
Okay.
since one person is starting also on eBird, as you start the checklist,
Checklist.
it keeps track of time.
Okay. Okay.
So when you know it is about, like it's entered 14th minute
Mm-hmm.
or so, you can keep a track. Okay, now in
Okay.
another 30 seconds or so, we will end the checklist. Or when it is 15 minutes and few seconds, person who is making the checklist can give heads up to others.
Okay.
It's time to, yeah.
Okay, understood. And one more thing is, let's say in a team, let's say you have two bird watchers who are experienced. Okay. In that case, since each subcell, again, this is a question to make it quick. Let's say in this case, one subcell, we need 1 hour of effort. Okay. Let's say in your team, you have two expert bird watchers who can split that into two regions, right? For idea is to cover the entire cell. Can one person go north, one person go south? And instead of 1 hour, can it be completed in 30 minutes? Because one person is in charge of completing two checklists and
Yes.
other one. Yeah,
Yes,
that is
it is
also possible.
possible,
Yeah.
but only if people wish to do that.
Yeah.
Also, if we are sure about, everyone birding, if they are comfortable to do it on their own.
Yeah.
And also, like this kind of I mean, if you want to enjoy group birding, or if you have amateur birders with you, though you are expert, you would also want to share the joy of watching birds, showing them, teaching them, or spending some time with them to familiar, to make them familiar with the birds. But if if we are equipped with people in a team who can do independent checklist, we can go for that. Also, this is something we did only as a last resort when we were not able to cover more number of checklists, or we were
You want to
closer to
complete
the
the team.
deadline, closer to the end of the season, and we didn't had more time. That's when we went for this strategy. But from my experience, I think people enjoy doing these checklists and watching birds around them.
And each team, how many cells can be completed in a day? Is it recommended 3-4 checklists, 3-4 cells, or 3?
All 4.
4, huh? Okay.
So you are saying cells or checklists?
Four
Cells.
cells actually.
Cells, it depends on how far 2 cells are. Like if the commute travel is little more, then then you may fall short. Like you may be able to cover one complete cell, like 4
Yeah.
checklists there, and 2 in some other cell.
Okay.
Or, like the split may happen, like, but comfortably in 3 hours of birding, let's say 6 to 9, if
Mhm.
we do, we can easily cover somewhere around 6 to 7 checklists comfortably.
Okay. Okay. It means that you can cover 2 cells in a day,
Cells.
max 2 cells
Yes.
in a day.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is for team leads, right?
Mo-
To give an idea, like you can't put more than 2 or 3 cells in a day. Okay, because it becomes difficult for you unless the cells are very close by. Sometimes what happens, if you look into the map, uh, some cells are extremely close by, so you don't have to go anywhere. Okay, very near to. Let me show. In this case, so these 2 cells, right? These are neighboring cells. So 51 and 65 are side by side. So the team which is doing, let's say 51, can also do 65. So make sure when you see it through Google Map, My Maps, and assign cells which are very close by, so that you have less commute time. When 52 and 38 are very close by, Kajagoda and High Tech City are very close by. These can be easily covered in 2 hours or 2.5 hours. Okay. Some cells which are far, you can only do only 1 cell in a day. Sometimes what happens, some people might be interested to do this Moinabad cell, which is very far. To go to the other place, it will take hardly, there it's a commute time itself will take half an hour. Okay. So the team leads or the persons who are team members, make sure that you are assigning the cells which are close by. And team members, make sure that you are actually, when you are assigning yourself, right, do not conflict with multiple teams. Okay. It means that don't put your name in one same day in one end of the corner and another cell at the another corner. Okay. Any other questions? Anything in the chat, Kishore?
We tried answering most of them, but if anybody has questions which they want to ask in the session directly, you can
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah. All you need to do is go to that cell, okay, on that day. I'm just giving an example. Put the directions to that cell, go there, start your checklist in eBird, survey for 15 minutes. At the end of 15th minute, just close the checklist, enter the details. You don't have to share, submit the checklist, but don't share with Hyderabad Bird Atlas, because sometimes what happens, you might review based on some species which you photographed, you wanted to identify later. Okay. As once you are done with all the species which are updated, then share it with Hyderabad Bird Atlas. That is what we are going to do. This is what is expected out of you. Yeah. Murari raised a hand.
Yeah, Murari.
So I have a question. So you remember when initially the grids or the cells were actually planned, there were some cells which were not accessible.
Yeah.
And then there was some talk that you will resample it. So is the resampling done, or is the same thing, or we leave the cells unsurveyed?
No, it is actually 5 cells, Murari, we identified which are inaccessible. Okay, in this case, if you look at, right, so Usman Sagar, there is Usman Sagar cell and also Himayat Sagar cell, which aim in the middle. We resampled it. Okay, that is where this only 5 cells we identified. And
There was
all
one in
5 cells.
Hakipet airport, there was one cell, I remember.
Yeah, so airport, we didn't take call because it is actually outside. Okay, that is what the reason. If you see outside, right, you can still have Decathlon is a region where you can go and access it. So that's the region we actually.
No, not this airport, Hakipet. This is.
Hakimpet has been changed. Hakimpet has been changed.
All right. Okay.
So all these has been changed. Hakimpet and a couple of other sites and a few 5 cells which are been identified has been replaced.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, this is actually, again, this Google My Maps is there in volunteers group. But again, once I share this survey protocol, right?
The resample one I did not see. So that's what I'm seeing now.
Yeah, this has been updated. This has been updated in the volunteers group.
Okay.
Okay, in the description it will be there.
Thank you.
Okay, but Murari, if you anytime you feel that some of the cells is inaccessible, you can still reach out to us. But we made the changes, Murari. Okay, any other things?
Yeah, too many questions which we are trying to answer in the chat. So
Yeah, I see 100 plus. Huh?
one second.
Okay. Murari, again you raised. Okay.
Whatever we didn't answer, we will just see there.
Okay. Sri Ranjini.
Ranjani,
Yeah, I have one more question. Maybe this was answered during other eBird and Merlin session, which I could not attend. So, are we going to identify the birds based on only sighting them, or can we just identify them by call? Because not necessary that we can always catch a glimpse
Yeah.
of the bird, right?
So any birds can be identified by call, birds can be identified by sight, birds can be identified by anything. Okay. But remember that if the bird is rare, okay, there needs to be some kind of documentation. So
Okay.
documentation can be in the form of a photograph. Documentation can be form of the way you describe the bird. That is one thing. The documentation can be in the form of the call recording. So any of the documentation needs to be there. That is mandatory for the birds which are unfamiliar in that region. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, that is what you need to follow.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Praveen, yeah.
yeah, Praveen.
Praveen, you can
Unmute yourself, Praveen. Sorry.
Yeah,
Go
good
ahead, Praveen.
Good evening, good evening. So last time when we were doing Sanjeevaya Park, marshland birds, when we are doing the survey, the number of birds is a matter, or because sometimes it is repeated when we enter in the eBird. So how we can make sure that repeated entry should not come?
so
A flocks
repeated in the
bird.
sense,
Yeah.
yeah, birds will be repeated definitely. What I mean to say was in a checklist, you're talking about in a checklist?
Yeah, and a checklist. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, when you walk around that, you might see birds, the same birds in different ways, right? You need to keep on adding the count. Okay.
Count.
Yeah,
Okay.
count needs to be updated.
Okay.
Okay. Now you're capturing two things. One is the bird species, and also the population of the birds also needs to be captured.
Okay. Population is an estimated population, not the actual. No, we cannot sometimes a flock
Yeah,
of birds.
estimated whatever you see by eyes, right? Is what needs to be.
So all team members together, they need to work on this
Yes.
because we could
Correct.
able to see lot of birds in the water body. So our when we split into that day, so we could not actually count the total number of birds. So we just ended 50, approximately 50 like that. So
which team you are part of, Sanjeeva, when you came? Is it Gopal or me or somebody?
not Gopal.
Okay. So usually, right, counting is also one important thing. You need to make. There is a session. I think
First priority is the species identification. Second is
species. The population. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Team lead is responsible for both the things. One is identification and also the population.
Okay.
And the team members will help in actually, let's say that you've seen a bird. Okay. Team lead might say that this is so and so duck. Team member, one of the team members might needs to help him in estimating the population. Okay.
Because many of the town area, city area, the doves are plenty. So you cannot just count it. Everywhere
No, that you had to guesstimate. Okay, yeah, you can guess it. Okay, take a let's say you have a camera, right? Take it a cell, see how many are there. Let's say by sight also. Take a block. See there are 50 in that block. Multiply. See how many blocks are there. Let's say 10 blocks are there. 50 into 10 is a tentative count. 500 is what you need to do. Okay.
Understood.
But make sure that the count is not over counted. Okay.
Understood.
Okay.
Good.
Conservative count is what we call. Okay.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
And the other thing I
Vishal,
wanted to mention, we have whatever we discussed, right? On 1st February, we have a bird walk in zoo where I think we have one cell in zoo which falls under this one. So where we are going to implement this survey protocol, we wanted to try it in the field, and whoever has doubts, let's say sometimes you might have a doubt when you go into the field. We try to do a mock survey in the zoo, which is going to happen on 1st February. Make sure whoever are not familiar and who wants to learn and who wants to put it in use, this whatever protocol we discussed, we'll put it in practice on 1st February, which is next Saturday. Okay.
Yeah, hi.
Zishan.
Not
Yeah,
next
Zishan, go
Saturday,
ahead.
yeah, 1st February. Yeah.
Yeah, so my question is like suppose if I am registering with the multiple cells, right? The chances are like I have to do the birding in the multiple cells. So will there be a overlapping in the timing because the team lead might be different and there will be any chances?
Yeah. So that is the reason. So once whatever is opting for you, right, as a team member, make sure that it is not conflicting. Okay. And that is up to you whether you wanted to do, let's say you have a bandwidth to do it on multiple days. Okay. Then do it on multiple days. But there is, since you are dependent on team leads, right? Team lead will have a say on that. But it is always between you and team lead which you need to coordinate. Okay.
So for each cell, there will be any timing would be there, timing and the date would be there.
6 to 9 and as I mentioned previously, from February, officially the survey is on 15th and 16th of February, but based on the availability of you and the team lead, you can start surveying from Feb 3rd till Feb 23rd. We have 20 days of time to cover 180 cells. 180 cells is the target for us, and plan is to cover all 180 cells in these 20 days. Okay.
Yes, hi Sriram, Anandita here.
And
I just had two questions actually. The first thing is that when it comes to migratory birds, how do we deal with that? So will it be same on the Hyderabad Birding Atlas, or we have to take it in a different way?
Everything as part of Hyderabad Bird Atlas, all the birds which you are seeing inside the city needs to be covered. Okay, whether it
Okay.
is a migratory or resident, whatever is there,
Okay.
all the birds. Please remember this: we are doing the winter survey is to get the population of both resident and migratory birds.
Okay. Okay.
And again, we are doing in July period, which is like summer period, which we are calling as summer because that is the primarily to identify the resident birds.
Oh, okay, great. And one more thing, when it comes to, let's say, like there are bird species that are uncommon actually. So do we need to go ahead and has to be verified by, let's say, more than one member or two members, something like that?
So it needs to be convincing. The documentation needs to be there. I think I just mentioned previously saying that if there is a rare bird, first thing is there need to be proper documentation. Documentation in the form of the description. Okay. The other thing is by picture or by call. One of the three things. One of those three things you need to mention. And then again,
similar to what you do for eBird, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And again, it will be gone through the review process. Okay, the review process happens at multiple levels. One is at the HBA level and also at the eBird level. eBird reviewers also will review that whether it is a site can be accepted or not. Please remember all whatever you're going to, and also remember one important thing. In a cell, if you are seeing zero birds, okay, make sure that it is zero because zero also has a lot of value when it comes to HBA. Because if a cell has zero birds, it means that that cell is of concern for the entire thing. So don't think that okay, I am going to report. Don't feel shy that you are going to report zero birds. Zero also has lots of value when it comes to Hyderabad Bird Atlas. Okay, because some of the things needs to be taken care. Why that cell has zero or limited birds? Let's say some cell has only 5 birds, right? In that case, that those things also needs to be taken care. Okay, ultimately, remember the aim of Hyderabad Bird Atlas or this entire atlas is to actually help in future the city planning. Okay, in this case, we are actually identifying the birds at different places, right? Either it will help you in the conservation of birds and also at the city planning. Let's say you are expanding, city is expanding beyond the ORR. So if you are seeing birds outside, which needs of conservation, this is a good time to actually survey. Okay, so remember, zero birds is also good, not good. What I mean to say was it is of high importance for the survey.
Okay. Thank you so much, Krishna.
Any other questions? We are
Revati, zero birds means, yes, obviously count birds also, right?
sometimes,
I mean,
I'm not thinking that there will be zero birds in any cell. You might
correct,
see
correct.
rock pigeons, sure. But if at all, let's say a cell has only 5 birds, right? So it is of a concern for that cell. So that is important for us, right? We wanted to also see later when we analyze the data, what all the cells which are has least number of birds, and we need to figure out why there are least number of birds in that cell. That is for the later part for data analysis. Okay, so I hope there are no zero cell birds, but if at all anything is there, don't keep adding birds just to cover up. Okay, don't do that. If there are zero, report zero, not an issue. eBird accepts zero birds. Okay, don't worry. Any other questions? We just crossed 1 hour time. Okay.
Yeah, if any of your questions are missed in the chat, please let us know because there are too many questions here, and we didn't have the Q&A option like the earlier one, so we could have missed some questions.
But we'll
Any
try to
questions
answer
which you
all.
missed, please.
Yeah, we'll try to answer all the questions. If at all you have still further, right? Do you have any other questions? We already have a Q&A sheet which is shared in volunteers group. You can add those things, and we'll also collect all these questions, put it in a Q&A session. Okay, the aim is to also create a question and answer for us to review in the later. Let's say for next season, right? When we do it, this Q&A is also needed to be kept in one location. Ravi has a question.
Yeah, Ravi.
Okay. I was designated as a team lead, but now the problem is who are my team members? Okay, I do not know who are, a list of people know in the list. So I need to,
Yeah,
at
this
least
is the
send,
Excel sheet.
Yeah,
correct.
Ravi, just assign, your job is to assign the cells what you are planning to do it. Okay.
Correct.
Team
Okay.
members will assign their cell. Okay. Ultimately, okay.
Oh, okay.
Your job is to assign whatever cells you wanted to survey.
Okay.
Right?
I assign my cell, other members will assign their cell.
Their cells.
So,
You don't have to worry
Correct.
about team
okay,
members.
okay,
Okay.
okay, okay. That means, when suppose, see, I'm in Khartabad. Suppose if I
Okay.
choose one of the cells near Khartabad, so that
Example
means,
80.
Pardon?
I'm giving an example
Example
80.
80.
80. Okay. So other members also who choose 80 will join together as a member, as a team.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
And then you coordinate with all your team members
Done.
for the survey.
Sure. Done.
Right? You are going to put your name in D cell and F cell, the survey date where you want to do.
Correct. Okay.
Okay.
Done.
And then the team members will join you. And then
Understood.
you coordinate with the team members because you are asking them to enter their name and mobile number. So you can coordinate with your team members and then do the survey.
Okay. The other members who have entered the same cell, is it visible to me? I mean, because if I enter
Yes.
myself.
This sheet will be visible to you,
This
right?
is visible for everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
Done.
Once they
Understood.
enter, you will be able to see their names.
Understood. Right.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
once you enter, you may have to wait for a couple of days for other team members also to add. I mean, it could be that team members have already entered their names where
Possible.
there is not yet a team lead, right? You might be entering your name later.
Okay, done.
First, the team members might have already entered their names.
Fine. Okay. Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other three? I saw somebody's message. Sriharsha, you had some question? You can ask here. Sriharsha?
Okay. As I mentioned previously, we'll do a mock survey, which is on Feb 1st. Okay. Whoever has queries, further queries, come on that day. And also, if at all you wanted to do it on that day, right? Come and visit on that day. We'll try to go to zoo. Zoo is a place where we actually try to replicate what we're planning to do. Okay. In the meantime, you start assigning yourself the team leads and also team members. Start assigning the whatever cells which are close to you, or the cells which you are planning to do. Some people still want to go far and explore. Just assign. Make sure that try to cover as much as you can. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah,
So I'm actually from outside this Hyderabad or the state. So so is there any specialty on that 2 days that you assigned, 15 and 16? So if I'm planning to come to Hyderabad, so it have to be on that day. Like, is there any special programs on that day together or like
So
that? Or
one
I
program is there which is on 16th evening. Okay. We'll come, I will let you know. We have a program where we have a get together. We will share more details. Where are you from actually?
Actually, I'm from Kerala. Currently, I'm working in Delhi. So I miss Kerala Bird Atlas. So I surely want to be part of this atlas.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Okay,
no, but
glad
if
you plan to come all the way to be part of this. So we have an event. We'll give you the details. You are already there in volunteers group. Okay, we'll share
Uh-huh.
you
Yes.
what exactly we're planning.
So I'm a lead actually. I'm in lead group as well. So
Okay,
there we can communicate.
oh,
Yes, yes.
okay, sure.
so then how will you lead the team
You are
on the
planning to
day
come
which you're?
down to during those
Yes,
days?
yes. I'm planning to come, but I'm just asking, is there any specialty on that particular day? So if there is any program on 16, I can plan accordingly. So
Yeah,
I can be
15th and
part of that.
16th. Okay, remember, make sure
Yes,
you're
yes.
available as a team lead, right? Make sure you're
Yes,
available
yes.
on 15th and 16th.
Yes, yes. That both day I can be available, sir.
Yeah.
Oh. Any other questions?
We crossed our time, but if at all any questions are there, we'll address, or else you can always ask in the group.
Yes, Riyansh.
Yeah, sure.
If two cells are adjacent, you can join both.
Yeah, obviously. So it's up to you. Okay. It's how you coordinate with the team leads. If you're a team member, okay, you need to, let's say you wanted to be part of multiple cells. So it is your duty to coordinate with the team leads of those 2 cells or 3 cells or 4 cells or whatever cells, and then plan your schedule.
So one thing we can do, Sriram, we can share off the link here because everybody is asking for the link. Just share the Excel sheet link here first,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
we will
I'll
anyway share it in the
share in the
yeah
chat window.
yeah share it in the chat as of now.
Okay. Let me share this window, and also, okay, let me give you PDF maybe. A PDF, I'll send it to you in the group.
PDF later we can share.
Yeah, we can do.
Just share the Excel sheet.
Excel sheet. This is the Excel sheet. Try to assign yourself, and this Excel will have okay, if somebody wants to see the map, right? You have map location in the first sheet, map details, and then you need to enter your details in team details sheet. Okay.
Actually, I have the link. I can share it also.
Yeah.
Yeah, one
If
second.
there are no further questions, I'll stop the recording.
Yeah, I think you can stop the recording. We can still take the question.